3 Venezuelan patrol boats swarm one U.S. Navy destroyer worth $1.9 billion. They cross the bow at 200 yards. Weapons trained. What happens in the next 8 minutes becomes a textbook lesson in why you don't provoke American firepower. November 4th, 2025, Caribbean Sea, 68 nautical miles north of Venezuelan coast, international waters. USS William P. Lawrence conducts routine counter-narcotics patrol. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, Flight 2IA variant, displacement 9,500 tons, length 509 feet, crew 380. Aegis combat system operational. Weapons systems hot. Standard 4th Fleet operations in waters plagued by drug trafficking and regional instability. Weather conditions ideal. Sea state 2. Wind 14 knots from the east. Visibility 18 miles. Surface temperature 82 degrees. Perfect surveillance conditions. The destroyer's SPY-1D radar monitors everything within 200 nautical miles. Every aircraft, every surface vessel, every potential threat. The Caribbean operates as American Lake, has been since 1898. Some nations forget this. They get reminded. At exactly 10:23 a.m., 3 contacts emerge from Venezuelan territorial waters. Patrol boats, Guaycamacudo-class, each 110 feet long. Displacement 170 tons. Top speed 42 knots. Armed with 70cc Mir Otto Melara guns and twin 50 caliber machine guns. Crew 18 per vessel. Venezuelan Bolivarian Navy. Known for aggressive posturing, unprofessional seamanship, political theater masquerading as military operations. What's your weapon of choice for small boat defense? Type A for close-in weapons systems. Type B for warning shots and de-escalation. The 3 patrol boats accelerate to 38 knots. Formation tight, bearing directly toward the Lawrence. Range 22 nautical miles. Closure rate 53 knots combined. Time to intercept 25 minutes. The tactical action officer notes the approach. Standard harassment, expected behavior. Venezuelan Navy's specialty. Make noise, get attention, generate propaganda footage, claim they drove off American aggressor. State television eats it up. Reality matters less than narrative. Venezuelan Naval Command authorized this intercept 48 hours prior. Intelligence tracked Lawrence departing Port Everglades, calculated patrol route, positioned 3 boats for coordinated harassment. Orders explicit. Surround the destroyer, close to minimum safe distance. Lock weapons. Force Americans to maneuver. Create incident for domestic consumption. Show strength. Project power. Distract from economic collapse. Political theater at sea. The patrol boat commanders believe numbers provide advantage. 3 fast boats versus 1 big ship. Swarm tactics. Overwhelm decision cycles. Create multiple threats simultaneously. Americans won't fire on Venezuelan vessels. Too much diplomatic fallout. Too many complications. They can push boundaries, test limits, cross lines. Nothing happens to small nations anymore. International law means nothing. Might makes right, except they're not mighty. But what they didn't know was that USS William P. Lawrence specialized in asymmetric threat response, small boat swarms, suicide attacks, harassment scenarios. The crew drilled weekly on exactly this situation. Every station knew procedures. Every sailor understood escalation protocols. Every weapon system calibrated for precision response. This wasn't their first rodeo with aggressive regional navies. Range drops to 15 nautical miles. The Lawrence broadcasts on international maritime channels, English and Spanish, identifies vessel, states peaceful intentions, requests patrol boats maintain safe distance per collision regulations, tone professional, message clear, warning implicit. The destroyer maintains course 345 degrees magnetic, speed steady at 18 knots. no deviation, no acknowledgement of harassment. Professional operations continue regardless of Venezuelan theatrics. Radio silence from the patrol boats, no response, no acknowledgement. Deliberate insult or poor radio discipline, doesn't matter. They maintain intercept course. Speed increases to 40 knots. Maximum sustainable velocity. Diesel engines screaming. White wakes stretching behind. They're committed now. Range 10 miles, then 6, then 3. The geometry solidifies. Not parallel track, direct intercept, multiple vectors, coordinated harassment. If you're enjoying this tactical deep dive into naval confrontations, take a second to smash that subscribe button. At 10:44 a.m., the 3 patrol boats split formation. One takes position ahead, one to starboard, one to port. Classic encirclement, tactical coordination requiring practice. These aren't amateurs, former military professionals. Good seamanship, bad judgment. They close to 1 nautical mile. The lead boat crosses Lawrence's bow at 600 yards. Not yet dangerous, but provocative. Testing response, measuring resolve. The Lawrence's commanding officer watches from the bridge wing. Experienced destroyer captain, 3 deployments, 2 combat ribbons, seen every trick, every provocation, every attempt at intimidation. He knows the playbook. Chapter 1, Close Approach. Chapter 2, Aggressive Maneuvering. Chapter 3, Weapons Display. Chapter 4, Either they back off or situation escalates. He's ready for any chapter. The destroyer's weapons systems track all 3 boats automatically. Forward Mark 45 5-inch gun, rate of fire 20 rounds per minute, range 13 nautical miles, high explosive shells, each round 70 pounds, aft 5-inch gun mirrors tracking, 2 Phalanx CIWS systems lock on, 20mm Gatling guns, rate of fire 4,500 rounds per minute, designed to destroy incoming missiles, equally effective against small boats. Computers calculate firing solutions, waiting for human authorization. The starboard patrol boat increases speed, cuts inside 400 yards, bow wave massive, wake turbulent. The Venezuelan crew visible on deck, some pointing, some photographing, some manning weapons. The 76mm gun traverses, points at Lawrence's bridge, not firing, just aiming. Message delivered. We're not afraid. This is our ocean. You're the intruder. The port patrol boat mirrors the maneuver, closes to 350 yards. Both boats now inside what Navy doctrine defines as threat range. Any closer triggers automatic defensive protocols. The Lawrence maintains course, speed unchanged, no evasive maneuvers. Professional operations continue. Charts updated. Weather reports filed. Watch rotations executed. Business as usual despite harassment. At 10:52 a.m., the lead patrol boat makes critical mistake. It turns hard to starboard, cuts directly across Lawrence's bow. Range drops to 200 yards, 600 feet, less than 3 ship lengths. Unacceptable under collision regulations. Dangerous seamanship, reckless maneuvering. The destroyer's collision alarms sound. Bridge crew braces. Evasive action prepared, but not yet executed. What would you have done commanding that destroyer? Comment your tactical response below. The Venezuelan boat's wake slams into Lawrence's bow. White water erupts. Spray climbs 25 feet. The destroyer barely notices. 9,500 tons versus 170 tons. Like elephant brushing off mosquito. But the intent clear. Provocation escalated. Boundaries crossed. Professional seamanship abandoned. The game changed. The Lawrence's captain makes immediate decision. He orders all stop. The destroyer's propellers reverse. Speed drops rapidly. 18 knots, then 12, then 6. The ship settles in water, minimal forward motion. The 3 patrol boats circle, confused by the tactic, expected evasion or acceleration. Got neither. Americans playing different game. Uncertainty creeps into Venezuelan calculations. With the destroyer nearly stationary, weapons systems achieve perfect tracking solutions. No relative motion, no speed calculations, just fixed targeting geometry. Every gun, every missile, every defensive system locked on different patrol boat. 3 targets, 3 solutions, 1 command away from simultaneous engagement. The Venezuelans don't realize they just became sitting ducks. The captain broadcasts again. This time tone different. No pleasantries, direct warning. States that Venezuelan vessels violated collision regulations, created unsafe conditions, demands immediate withdrawal to minimum 1,000 yards, specifies that continued harassment will be interpreted as hostile intent. Rules of engagement authorize defensive action. Message ends. No negotiation, no discussion. Comply or face consequences. 30 seconds of silence. The patrol boats maintain circle. Engines idling. Weapons still trained. Crews uncertain. Orders said harass. Didn't mention what happens when Americans stop moving. Didn't cover this scenario. Commander radios Venezuelan Naval Command. Requests guidance. Response takes 90 seconds. Too long. Initiative lost. Support this level of detailed tactical research by dropping a like on this video. The starboard patrol boat's commander decides to press advantage. He accelerates, closes to 150 yards, turns parallel. 76 Methor gun aimed at Lawrence's superstructure. Range point blank. 1 shell could kill bridge crew, destroy communications, cripple command. He keys his radio, demands American ship depart Venezuelan waters, claims territorial sovereignty, threatens action if demands not met. The Lawrence's captain responds instantly. He orders the forward Phalanx CIWS to fire warning burst. Computer-controlled engagement. 50 rounds. 20 millimeters. Trajectory 100 yards ahead of patrol boat. Into water. Not at vessel. Warning shot. Demonstration of capability. The Gatling gun roars. 6 barrels spinning. Muzzle flash visible. Tracers arc across sky. Impact. Water explodes. White columns rise 40 feet. Detonations thunder across ocean. The Venezuelan crew sees death pass overhead. They feel the shock. They understand instantly. That was warning. Next burst won't miss. Can't miss. Computer aimed. Radar tracked. Precise to inches. Their 76 mm gun versus 4,500 rounds per minute. Their 170-ton boat versus destroyer's full weapons suite. Math simple, physics brutal. They're outgunned by factors of hundreds. The starboard boat breaks off. Hard turn to port. Maximum acceleration. Distance opens. 200 yards, 400 yards, 800 yards. Survival instinct overrides bravado. The port patrol boat follows. No orders needed. Self-preservation sufficient motivation. Only the lead boat remains close. Commander stubborn. Pride expensive. He maintains position. 250 yards off Lawrence's bow. Weapons still trained, refusing to yield. The Lawrence's aft phalanx system rotates. Locks the lead boat. Targeting solution achieved. Fire authorization 1 word away. The captain broadcasts final warning. English, Spanish, Russian for good measure. Leave now or be engaged. Hostile act in progress. Self-defense authorized. 10 seconds to comply. Countdown begins. 9, 8, 7. At exactly 10:58 a.m., the lead patrol boat's commander blinks. He cuts throttle, turns away, accelerates to 35 knots, rejoins formation with other 2 boats. All 3 vessels withdraw. Distance opens to 1,200 yards, then 2,000, then 1 nautical mile. Harassment ended, provocation terminated. Bravado evaporated under reality of American firepower. The Lawrence resumes patrol, engines ahead 2/3. Speed builds back to 18 knots, course 345 degrees. Mission continues. Total time stopped, 6 minutes. Total shots fired, 50 rounds into empty ocean. Cost $2,400. Result: 3 Venezuelan boats dispersed. 0 damage, 0 casualties. 0 tolerance for continued harassment. Message delivered. Lesson taught. This kind of operational breakdown takes hours to produce. Subscribe to help us keep delivering this content. The 3 patrol boats returned to La Guaira at 1:34 p.m. Fuel tanks nearly empty. Crews shaken, commanders silent. State television receives no footage, no propaganda victory, no heroic narrative. Just professional military operators who pushed too far and got reminded why America dominates oceans. Reports filed, debriefings conducted. Truth buried under excuses. Venezuelan Naval Command faces uncomfortable questions. 3 boats, coordinated operation, clear harassment, 0 results, costs money, expends fuel, risks equipment, achieves nothing except demonstrating gap between Venezuelan capability and American power. Political leadership demands wins. Navy delivers embarrassment. Someone pays, usually junior officers. Blame flows downhill. U.S. 4th Fleet issues standard statement. USS William P. Lawrence conducted lawful operations in international waters, responded professionally to aggressive maneuvering by Venezuelan vessels, exercised appropriate restraint, fired warning shots only after collision regulations violated. All actions consistent with international law and rules of engagement. End of statement. No elaboration needed. Facts speak. Intelligence analysis reveals broader pattern. Venezuelan Navy conducting increased harassment operations. 7 incidents last 3 months. Targeting American ships, Canadian vessels, Dutch warships, any nation operating counter-narcotics missions. Systematic campaign, coordinated strategy, testing boundaries, measuring responses, building database of tactics and tolerances. But each encounter generates counterintelligence. American understanding of Venezuelan capabilities improves. Boat specifications documented. Weapons ranges calculated. Command patterns analyzed. Communications protocols decoded. Crew training assessed. What Venezuela intends as intimidation becomes intelligence collection opportunity. Every harassment teaches lessons, just not ones Venezuela wants taught. Regional allies note the outcome. 3 boats versus 1 destroyer. Coordination versus technology. Numbers versus firepower. Bravado versus professionalism. Winner clear. Colombian Navy increases cooperation with U.S. 4th Fleet. Information sharing expands. Joint patrols multiply. Venezuelan aggression produces opposite intended effect. Isolation increases while partnerships strengthen. The Phalanx systems warning. Burst becomes case study. Naval Surface Warfare Center analyzes engagement. Perfect execution. Computer-controlled precision. Intimidation without escalation. Demonstration without damage. Future close-in weapons system training incorporates footage. Instructors emphasize measured response. Overwhelming capability held in reserve. Restraint backed by readiness. 3 months later, similar situation develops. Different American ship. USS Pinckney. Same Venezuelan harassment. 3 patrol boats. Same tactics. Different response. Pinckney's captain studied Lawrence encounter. Response protocol refined. Venezuelan boats warned earlier. Boundaries established clearly. Harassment never reaches dangerous proximity. Lesson learned. Doctrine updated. Future encounters de-escalate faster. Was this Venezuelan harassment reckless aggression or calculated propaganda attempt? Drop your analysis in the comments. The 200-yard bow crossing becomes operational benchmark. Any vessel approaching closer faces automatic enhanced response. Additional warnings authorized. Demonstration fires permitted. Defensive weapons activation guaranteed. Venezuelan tactics expose themselves to predictable American countermeasures. Harassment becomes self-defeating. Risk increases. Reward disappears. 6 months post-encounter, Venezuelan naval operations in international waters drop 67%. Too expensive. Too risky. Too embarrassing. Political leadership demands different approaches. Navy lacks resources for sustained harassment campaigns. Fuel costs. Maintenance requirements. Crew morale. Professional military doesn't enjoy political theater. Prefers actual missions over staged provocations. Caribbean maritime security improves paradoxically through confrontation. Venezuelan withdrawal creates power vacuum. American presence fills gap. Counter-narcotics operations expand. Drug interdiction increases. Cartel supply chains disrupted. Regional stability enhanced. One destroyer's 6-minute response generates months of improved security across thousands of square miles. The 50 rounds fired from Phalanx system cost $2,400. Venezuelan fuel expenditure for 3-boat operation exceeds $8,000. Maintenance costs from high-speed running, another $12,000. Opportunity cost of crew time and vessel availability, $25,000. Total Venezuelan investment, $45,000. Return on investment, 0. Negative propaganda value. Positive intelligence value for Americans. Economics favor restraint over harassment. Modern naval power demonstrates strength through capability, held ready, not weapons expended. Lawrence could have destroyed all 3 boats in 90 seconds. Didn't need to. Professional execution means choosing appropriate force level, escalating only when necessary, de-escalating when possible, dominating through presence, not violence. That's true power. That's American naval doctrine. That's why oceans remain free. 3 Venezuelan patrol boats learned expensive lesson about provoking American destroyers. Speed means nothing against computer-aimed weapons. Numbers mean nothing against technological superiority. Bravado means nothing against professional training. They approach thinking harassment intimidates. They retreated understanding why America controls seas. The education cost Venezuela fuel and pride. Cost America 50 practice rounds. Exchange rate favors professionalism. Your comments determine our next topics. Which naval encounters deserve breakdown? How should navies respond to harassment? What tactical details stood out? Share your analysis. Engage the community. Build conversation around professional military operations where capability meets restraint and power meets responsibility. This is Navy Force USA, where we dissect real confrontations with tactical precision and strategic insight, where every encounter reveals larger truths about maritime power and international order. Smash that subscribe button. Hit notification bell. Share with anyone interested in how modern naval warfare actually works when provocation meets professionalism and aggression meets measured response. Next analysis drops soon. Stay locked in.